Good afternoon. Welcome to Options Tender. It is Friday. Happy Friday, everybody. What a week this has been. Kind of sweat a little bit today. We added on to our SPY calls. We're looking into next week for a bounce before heading lower. And or the bull case scenario would be that we're getting our higher low at the 200-day moving average. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go SPY on the daily time frame, 65-minute, and the Elliott wave count, just so we could do a quick update before our weekend analysis that we'll do tonight or tomorrow, depending on when hockey is. Our world revolves around hockey. I love it, though. So if you're new here, go down to that bottom right-hand corner, hit that Options Tender logo, and subscribe. I do think we're going to get a bounce so far. And then, but, you know, with the seasonal aspect for the week, we had a question about that. During a weekly process, there's usually seasonal aspects to it. And typically there's not a bottom or a top on Friday. This is not a typical week, so I have to keep that in mind. This is options expiration, so we can get a big pop by the end of the day. Well, price action I've seen it done before in options expiration where we've been super bearish, trend day down, and by the last, I don't know, hour, half hour, it was all wiped away. So we'll have to keep an eye on that, but right now, the most important thing about this daily time frame, this daily chart, let me expand this a little bit, bring that out here. This 200-day moving average, we're going to get a reaction off it. We're starting to get the reaction already. I don't know if that's going to start the bounce in particular, but that would be the place to do it. I don't think this 200-day necessarily stops price from peaking down just a little bit further. It can. The one thing that I'm looking at, and we'll show on the 65-minute, is I still think we're going much further. I think we still have our targets down here, especially if we get that nice bounce and reject. Then we have further to go before we even get our next bounce. What we do have to pay attention to is QQQ, where their third wave on the QQQ is shorter than the first, so we'll be limited on the type of play that goes lower. So that's kind of like the wrench in the whole situation, especially you know, if we're just looking for the 5-wave move and we're looking for 5 waves down here. Now this 5 waves can be complete. So anyway, the whole point is this whole consolidation area, we backed up into it. We had a head and shoulders, rejected off of it, and we're trying to get new lows. I'm not sure that we're going to do that. I think we want to keep bulls and bears on limbo, especially going into the weekend, where we, you know, sort of triangulate in this area. Perhaps we start to triangulate into FOMC. That's in like a week and a half. That's one idea. We don't want to project too much. We're going to watch price action. I do think we have a bounce. Let's go ahead and look at, we have our reversal, Williams, our percent here on the daily time frame. We had a sell signal. Now we're already oversold. We're oversold on the Williams. We can go lower. This doesn't say it, but this is kind of precaution that, you know, we are in the oversold territory. We don't get a actual buy signal until we get back above the 80%, the 80 line here. Okay, so again, the most important thing is the moving average that we're stopping at right now. We're just getting a reaction off of that. Let's see if we have anything else here. We're starting to roll over on the MACD, getting into overbought territory. This thing can gap down on Monday if the whole weekly seasonal cycle follows through. Then we'll see some sort of gap down on Monday. and then we'll get some sort of bounce, or that will be the low at this time. So we're getting the early signal of being oversold, and this stochastic still has some room to go. So yes, we can gap down on Monday. Did we start our call positions? Yes. Now we gap down, I will add on to them. I don't feel that this is the end all be all, that we just collapse from here. But the 1-2-1-2 setup that our bearish setup, if we get our nice pullback, it can continue. It can continue lower. We get a little bit of a pullback. See, we have our McClellan oscillator getting into oversold territory. So that means we're getting close. Summation, it just shows the breadth of the market is just still really, really weak. Okay, let's go down to the 65-minute. Let's change the board up here. Remember, trend is our friend. The trend is down. We are looking for a reversal, though. Okay, it's a little easier to see on the ES. What kind of... I do believe we have a 5-wave move down here. I do think that's what we're looking for. If we do get... if we're counting this a little bit wrong, and this is a 1-2, and we're just ending 3, then we'll get a shallow bounce, and we'll head lower to make a new low, and then we'll have all the bearish terms satisfied that I was talking about, where we negate the bull scenario altogether. The bulls don't want that. So we're getting into this zone to where, you know, the bulls want to fight back, and if they have anything left, this is it. This is where they're going to do it. So we're going to see a little bit of buying. Again, if we gap down over a Monday, great. We will look into some swings to the upside, because I do think that would complete an impulsive wave. And then we'd be looking for a retracement before heading much lower. All right. And depending on what we're going to be looking for, the more bearish territory would be just a lower high here, and we continue lower. The higher bounce scenario, if we get a new low, would mean we probably test trend lines, and then we'll have a retracement of this whole 5-wave move somewhere along with these trend lines. We'll look at that later on in the weekend, and then start heading lower. Okay, so but the important thing midday is that we're trying to bounce here. We have some indicators that are early indicators. This is oversold, but if we start to get above here with a bounce, we can get a buy signal. We already have an early buy signal with the Stoke RSI. We're oversold. No positive divergence here, but definitely oversold 2 times here in the RSI. And we're starting to lose a little bit on the histogram for the MACD. So we don't have the confirmation. We're starting here because we think we're at those levels. And I'll show you also on the Williams R, we do have positive divergence already. And that with oversold RSI is good enough for me. Now we're looking for the crossover. We're looking to possibly get a MACD crossover. We'll be looking at all those things. Okay, so now what I'm looking for, let's go over to the L8 wave. And what we're looking for, we're down to that 90% retracement here. And so this is, there's a good chance this wave 1 is in, and we get a little bit deeper retracement for 50, 60%, and we continue down. Lower after that. And that way we have a larger 5-wave move down to complete our 5-wave, larger scale 5-wave move down, okay? But, and I'll show you on ES as well. We'll go ahead and do that, just so that's why I look at all different charts. If we have this as a 1-2 and we're just finishing 3, then we should get a pretty shallow 424 to 426 zone pullback here. Maybe we get that going into the end of the day here. We get something that happens here. What I will do is I'll put on a little bit of protection to the downside for one last leg that might happen on Monday. Okay? We have a nice position to the upside right now. We'll hedge that position if and when we get up to this point here at 426 is the likely target. And look to see if we have one more leg down to complete all the... We'll have divergence at that point. We'll have a new low at that point. We'll satisfy all of the bearish necessities. But right now, the bull case, although deep pullback here, is still in play. So yesterday's video, I showed you the bull case. So check out the video from yesterday, and you'll see how I can count this as a bull count. But we're focused on the bear count. We did not negate the bull count yet. We'll put on some protection in this point. And I'll show you on ES real quick what we're looking at. It seems apparent that this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave move down from here, right? So what about this? If you can count this as a 5 waves or 3 waves, depending on if this ending diagonal, you still have to get down further for this to even matter. So if you're looking for a complete 5 wave move down here, then we're still going to have a 1, 2. This is all wave 3. Get our pullback. We'll get a pullback, and what we do, we would put a retracement here from the top of possible wave 2. I know this is all labeled a little different than what I'm talking about. And then we go back up to this 4,300 area before rejecting lower to get one more wave down. That would be a nice 5 wave move to complete this. Getting a new low under here would be the whole point. All right, now if this is an ending diagonal and we don't get our low, but we get a deeper retracement, then that's an ABC down for 1, a 3 wave move up for 2, 3, 4, 5, just like that down there. So there'll be all 3 waves down for a ending diagonal. That would symbolize that price is starting to lose momentum to the downside, and that we would then be looking for our low to complete a 5 wave move down. So there's 2 ways to get down and get a new low. We can get the new low by gapping down. Maybe this just hasn't ended yet, and we have a 1, 2, 3. We're getting a little 4, and then we gap down. We head down lower to eke out a new low. These are all the things we're going to have to keep in mind. We look at all the different charts. We look at all the different charts here. It's different because the ES, their high is back here. The futures. So we only have one to deal with here. If you're a bull, you're saying, yeah, this is an A down here. We had our high here. This is an A, an expanded B, and we're coming into C, into support, and we move higher. If you're bear, this looks like, if we want to compare SPX to ES and to SPY, then somehow if we're going to get lower, sooner than later, then this is probably labeled as a wave 1, 2. We completed 3. We're going to get a shallow move up for 4 and eke out a new low for 5, and that would just be wave 1 for us. Or we go for a much deeper retracement, that this is just wave 5. I know that's a lot of information. I'm trying to simplify it. Trying to simplify it for you. So if you see in the white, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So these would be 3-wave moves. That would be our impulse, and we go get a bounce, and we head much lower. But we got to break this low, or else we're just going to get a bounce and then start heading lower in a 5 or 3-wave move down lower. Excuse me, I said 5. Okay, so several ways to do this. I think that I'm ready for both situations here. I think we actually come back here for a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5, and we get down to this low here, with the bounce going into next week and then dropping again. And that's how I see it. But I'm prepared. I have time on my expirations. I'm prepared for another low. And that would be fabulous. We get our criteria set up to where we get a new low. And that would be somehow shoved in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would be an impulse move. And then I would see some sort of divergence, positive divergence happening. And then we get some sort of bounce again, whether that's a, relatively, in the bigger scheme of things, a shallow bounce and we go lower, or we retrace some of this 5-wave move. And this is all just a 1, a big 1. And then you get a 2, and then you head much lower. So, but we can't get our bearish scenario. No matter how we do this, we can't have our bearish scenario until we get a new low here under 420. Bulls are going to fight. So that's why I think we're going to go a little bit higher. I don't think that we're going to make a new high here and not be bullish. Unless somehow SPY is completely strong, makes a new high, and then tech is just extremely weak. Okay, so now we have, this looks a little bit similar. Now we're on QQQ. QQQ looks a little bit more similar to the ES, the futures, where we have a high up here, and then you can't really count this as a 5-wave. You can go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe we ended 1, and then we get a shallow bounce, and we head lower into Monday with the seasonality. Okay, so that's why we're going to put on our put protection a little bit higher, because this possibly could be a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 to make that new low. But we don't. The thing is this is still a 3-wave move down for 1, 3 up for 2, 3 down for 3, 3 up for 4, and now 5 should be this 1 or a B and a 5, 1, 2, 3. Maybe this is 3, 4, and 5 down here. So we should a nice 3-wave move there with a shallow move getting rejected and getting one lower. I hope they make sense. I hope we're gonna have to we're pushing off the 786 here, so the bulls still have hope. They're saying, hey, that's pretty normal. 78% retracement on a wave 2. So we're gonna look for a push up, and let's just see. We'll have to see if we get our smaller. If this is wave 3, we'll be looking for this 382 retracement, and also we'll have a little bit of resistance from the former 62%. So we'll be looking in this zone to add on protection really soon here, as soon as I get off this video. add some protection here to see if we go lower into Monday, which would be pretty typical for seasonality of the weekly cycle. All right, I hope that all makes sense, you guys. ES is squeezing a little bit. That's good. Get a little profit going, and then we'll add some protection. Okay, that's it. We'll talk to you soon, either tonight or tomorrow morning. I think we'll do the video. If not, I'll get one out Sunday. Either way, I'll make it happen. All right, have a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you soon.